Let's call this committee of the whole meeting for February 20th, 2024 to order. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Alderman Yamas.
Here.
Alderwoman Garza.
Here.
Alderman Masiacos.
Present.
Alderman Donnell.
Here.
Alderman Franco.
Here.
Alderman Seville.
Here.
Alderman Tolliver.
Here.
Alderwoman Smith.
Here.
Alderman Bug.
Here.
Alderwoman Babe.
Here.
Alderman Lash.
Here.
Alderman Warman.
Here.
Mayor Irvin's present.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of
moved.
closed
Second.
session from February 6, 2024, committee of the whole meeting? Motion made by, and to approve the draft closed session meetings from February 6, 2024 as presented. There's a motion made by Alderman Smith, second by Alderman Garza. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries by voice vote. Is there motion to approve the minutes for Tuesday, February 6th,
moved.
committee of the whole meeting? There's been a motion made by Alderman Garza, second by Alderman Smith. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries by voice vote. Madam Clerk, do we have any public members wishing to offer public comment?
We do, Mr. Mayor.
All right, will you read the rules for public comment, please? Did I?
Pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, all persons shall be permitted an opportunity to address public officials under the rules established and recorded by the council. Under our rules, any person may address the committee of the whole for up to 3 minutes with a maximum of 30 minutes allotted for all public comment. No person other than the timekeeper or the chair for the purpose of maintaining order may interrupt a person recognized for public comment during his or her comments. Members of the committee of the whole shall not engage with nor respond to a speaker during the time set aside for public comment. Staff is directed to follow up with members of the public with respect to any concerns raised during public comment within the scope of the city's authority following the adjournment of this meeting.
Madam Clerk, will you call the first person wishing to offer public comment, please?
Luis Hernandez Garcia.
Here. Mr. Hernandez Garcia, you have 3 minutes to speak, beginning now.
Yep. Hi, everybody. My name is Luis Hernandez. I live in here in Aurora, 415 Galena. My concern to here is to last year I was doing something. You guys helped me. Thank you very, very much. Also for the police, they helped me too. This time is I want to come in to report a noise with the mufflers on the cars, and also it's a danger area. It's in a downers in a 4. What I know. Cars, when they make it to the stop, they have to stop. Minimum is 5 seconds. There have been a lot of accidents, and the kids that are around the area, they never make it the 5 seconds. They just go, boom, and fire. So this is one of those things. The other thing is the mufflers noise. The second is my concern is it's coming sooner, September 15. It's the noise with celebration of September 15. The Mexican independence. The Mexican independence with the flags and the noise with the horns they making noise all the way to 5 o'clock in the morning when they're not supposed to do that. And I never see that last year. Any cops or anybody respect the cops to stop the people to don't do the noise and have a big, huge flags all the way to the street. And they start from Lincoln, wherever they come in, all the way through. And there was a lot of traffic. Okay, so if we can do something about it, because we know there's a lot of people to sleep, and by that time we celebrate 4th of July. After we celebrate 4th of July, we go back to peace in the house. Okay, the other thing is speed. The speed coming from Lincoln to farther is Aurora. The speed, there's a lot of speed crazy, and the cars either coming from the restaurants on the corner of Lincoln and Galena, either if they are drunk or not. I'm not checking it out because I'm not doing this job, but I've been seeing bad speed. Last year, my girlfriend had the car and there was crash really bad. So I just asking if you guys can do something about it, please. With this situation, it's a noise with the mufflers too loud, speed in Galena after Lincoln, and the stops on the corner of Donners and 4. This is, and the last one is, I know I have a short time, the homeless people. Last year, I have a problem with the homeless people because the guy, I told him to don't drinking and don't smoke on the park. And one of those guys, he threw me a rock. I have my phone and I hold it here and I still have the picture. And I still have the picture of the guy. And also he threatened me. I never see again, I see him again. And also those guys go back to the park, it's across to where I live. So I just wonder if the park across there is for the kids, and people been drinking alcohol and the smoking weed, and the park, when the park is for kids. to have fun, not to smell a week. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir. I don't know if Deputy Mayor Trujillo is here upstairs, but if you can just reach out and speak with our Deputy Mayor, you can address some of those issues that you brought up today.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, call the next speaker.
Jahel Rodriguez.
Mr. Rodriguez, you have 3 minutes to speak, beginning now.
Hi, my name is Yael Rodriguez. I'm just living in 421 Downer Place. My big concern is the stop sign in 4 and Downer. I almost got hit 3 times in the corner. I don't know what you guys can do about it because it's dangerous. And the speed in the Downer, they speed a lot of very hard and very fast. And I don't know if you guys can do something because the school is there. My kids, they go to the Waldo. So when they walk to home, this year, my kids almost got hit with a car because it's a lot of speed. So I don't know, you guys can do something about it. And like the guy said, the noise for the mufflers, there's very noise. I don't know, can you guys do something about it? But my main concern is the stop sign and then Downer and 4. Thank you very much.
So if you can provide your telephone number to Chief of Staff Alex Alexandru back there as well, we'll have Deputy Mayor Trujillo speak with you as well.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, call the next speaker.
Guy Bodie.
Hello, my name is Guy Bodie. I live at 503 East Downer Place, Aurora, Illinois.
Speak, sir.
Excuse
3
me?
minutes, go ahead.
Okay, can you please tell me when I have 30 seconds left? Thank you.
Absolutely.
I lived in Aurora my whole life, born and raised in Aurora, born over at St. Joe's, 1966. I lived at my current home for 30 years. I've seen a lot go on down there, and it's going to be fast and furious here. I wanted to have a video shown to you today, but according to Dina, I can't show a video. It's not allowed unless you guys approve it. I would like to make a video, bring it in and show you all the things I'm going to talk about today. That way you'll have firsthand knowledge and experience on seeing this stuff. First, the Opens Meeting Act for the United States, well, for you have here does not say anything about not showing a video. I printed it all out, I read it, I didn't see anything about it. Number 1. If video recording is covered by the First Amendment, which it is, it's a form of expression, the concept of my speech, of the video, is not self-defining in any way. So, just like with the billboard, it's a speech, form of speech, right? So what we need to do, and I'm going to talk about what these gentlemen had talked about also. They live in my neighborhood. How can I say this nicely? Noise, mufflers, broken, replaced with, how can I say, replaced with other louder mufflers, not stock. Music, 75-foot rule. That passed at least 20 years ago, and cars are still blasting and blowing their music loud, very loud. Motorcycles are also blasting their music very loud. I live on the corner of Route and Downer, 5 blocks up the road. The speed of travel I see from Jackson down to Mike's Corner, no stop signs, 3 accidents in 2 weeks on the corner of Downer and Anderson, 3 accidents on the corner of 4th and Downer. This year alone, just 6 only. But it's a matter of safety. Why is it safety, you say? Well, guess what? Kids go to school at Waldo, right there, a block away where these accidents are happening. I mean, if it's for anything, it's for safety for the kids. We speak in all the time about safety, safety, safety. But what are you guys going to do about it? Wani, I brought this up to you at our meeting I think last week. Next is the speed of travel. I've talked about Wani about this. She said the people on the west side, on West Downer, want those speed bumps taken out. They've been there for at least 5 to 10 years, I'm thinking. How come they haven't been taken out if that's what they want? And I know not all speed bumps will, how can I say this, reduce everything, but they will help at stop signs when they want people to stop, because the low cars with the loud mufflers that make all the noise, as soon as they hit them, they're done. Let's see, speed bumps would help along Downer with the kids also, running back and forth from blocks away to the south.
Your 3 minutes are up. So let me just tell you.
Where's my 30 seconds warning?
You actually had signed.
I didn't even see that.
All
I
right, so
apologize.
if you just provide your number,
Sure.
somebody from the office will reach out
Sure.
to you as well.
Okay.
No, just provide your number, bro. Call the next speaker.
Ilda Valdez.
And one more thing, if you can include the neighborhood outreach folks in that conversation as well, Deputy Mayor Trujillo.
Hello, good evening. My name is Ilda Valdez. I'm a community volunteer in the We Are United group. And my colleagues back here talked about the concerns about safety in the area regarding noise in the area and the concern for safety for our children around the Waldo area also. So I'm reading a letter here of one of our neighbors that had a concern for Mia Blanca, and so I'm just going to read it out. It says, February 19, 2024, to whom it may concern. We have been living in Aurora for almost 7 years now on Union Street between Downer and Benton. In the past year or so, we have had a scary problem that must be addressed concerning traffic on our street and other streets in the neighborhood. Vehicles with exceptionally loud mufflers and engine noises speed up and down our street at speeds that are extremely fast. They ignore stop signs at both cross streets, and we are seriously worried that children, pedestrians, and pets are endangered. Up until now, we have always felt safe living here. Whenever we have brought an issue to the attention of the city or the police, we've received prompt reaction. We understand that this is not an easy fix, but we are sincerely hoping something can be accomplished to stop this before more tragedy strikes. Sincerely, Mrs. Suzanne and Sir R.J. Ogren, retired veteran, and he also included his information here. He lives in the block of Union Street, and he has his contact information if you're wanting his information also. Okay. We ask that if you have any concerns about this letter, we have the contact information, or you can contact me or Blanca. Okay. Thank you so much.
And please provide your information as well, ma'am. Thank you. And also in this meeting with the neighborhood outreach specialist, the alderman has to be involved in that as well. Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the next speaker.
Blanca Rodriguez.
Ms. Rodriguez, you have 3 minutes to speak beginning now.
Yes, thank you. Hi everyone. My name is Blanca Rodriguez, and I am a member of We Are United Community Group in Ward 2, and I am speaking on behalf of residents who have shared concerns of safety in our neighborhood. Our community has had to deal with excessive speeding, multiple traffic violations, and disregard to pedestrians crossing on, actually, my partner just said Union, and I live on Benton, so I also see it on Benton and State. So we have shared our concerns with our alderwoman, Juani Garza, and Council, we ask you to please support her and us in our request for a true traffic study that includes police traffic violations and incidents, as well as speeding, in hopes to justify our request for a solution like a stop sign. Our community has seniors, veterans, children, and walkers like me who enjoy walking around my neighborhood. So please, we appreciate your help on this. Thank you very much.
Madam Clerk, please call the next speaker.
That was the final speaker.
Thank you much. All right, let's go on to the next portion of the agenda. Committee reports. Chairwoman Patty Smith, can you give the Building, Zoning, and Economic Development Committee
Yes, I will,
report?
Mr. Mayor. The Building, Zoning, and Economic Development Committee met on February 14th, 2024, and reviewed the following items. 240032, an ordinance requesting approval for conditional use for a religious institution, 6400, use on Lot 2 in West Aurora Plaza, Unit Number 2, located at 555 Redwood Drive.
No objections, I will go on consent.
20
Alderman Lash, hold on a second. Before I put that on consent.
I don't have a problem putting it on consent. I just had a quick question. How does this change the tax status for that property? If it, not approving the conditional use, but if it turns into a church?
Mr. Seaman?
Good evening, Ed Siebens, City of Aurora Zoning and Planning Director. Your question was the tax status. I believe there's representatives here. I believe they are purchasing the property. Is that correct? If you could, and I believe you guys are a not-for-profit, so if you could maybe answer
Good afternoon. My name's Neil Golterman. I'm the general counsel for the applicant, Seventh-day Adventist Church. So yes, the Illinois Conference of Seventh-day Adventists have been a not-for-profit corporation of Illinois since the 1890s. So they would be entitled, once they own property in the way that they're going to purchase it here, to apply to Kane County for a religious tax exemption.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. No objections, item going on consent.
Okay, next item is 240067, an ordinance vacating an ingress-egress easement on the property located at 733 and 743 McCure Road in Kane County, Illinois, 60502. 24
Objections, item going on consent.
24-0068, a resolution approving the final plat for 743 McCure Road LLC subdivision located at 733 and 743 McCure Road.
Consent.
No objections, item going on consent.
Mr. Mayor,
I'm sorry, Alderman.
can you please have a short presentation on these two?
Who from staff can speak to this? Mr. Seaman?
I don't have any questions, but the petitioners were not here for the committee meeting, and
I believe they were not here for the last item, the Wild Fork one on Route 59. This one is for McClure. Did you have a question on the McClure?
okay, I'm good with it. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions? No objections, item going on consent.
Next item, 240073, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a not-to-exceed agreement for design phase engineering and planning special service in the amount of $114,500 for the Rehabilitate Airfield Light Vault ARR-4915 and Replace Vault Generator ARR 5117 projects located at the Aurora Municipal Airport with Crawford Murphy Tilly Incorporated.
Consent.
Consent.
Next item.
Hold on a second. Alderman Lash.
Just a quick question regarding the contract itself. First of all, it looks like a good deal. I mean, the federal government's picking up 90%. But in the IDOT letter, it says that if the state fails to appropriate money for the project, that the airport sponsor will be required to pay the state and local costs. Just as a point of clarification, are we the sponsor in this?
Who from staff can speak to this? Oh, Mr. Anderson, want to step up? Did you hear the question, sir?
I did not.
Who is the airport sponsor?
City of Aurora.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, sir. No objections, item going on consent.
Next item, 24-0087, a resolution authorizing approval of the 2024 Historic Preservation Grant and allowing the mayor to enter into historic preservation grant agreements and addendums.
Good afternoon, Jill Morgan. I'm with Zoning and Planning. Brief presentation. I know I didn't give this at Finance because I had told the committee I would give it here at CRW. So this is to allow the mayor to execute the 2024 preservation grant agreements and addendums. Just a reminder, the 2019 new grant program, it's a $20,000 maximum grant for all, and it's only for exterior work. Any grant over 10,000 requires a dollar for dollar match, and then you get a $1,000 bonus if you use a local contractor. This year, we had 22 applications submitted. The Preservation Commission is recommending 14 applications as deserving of funding. The other applications they are not recommending were either incomplete, didn't adhere to the preservation guidelines, or really were maintenance related in the Commission's opinion. So this will leave some funding left for another grant round this year, which staff feels is actually beneficial, because if you recall, getting any contractor, but especially those with preservation expertise, is sometimes hard to get them to come out to cost estimates. So this gives someone another chance at it this year. So just real briefly go through them. 108 North U Street, this is for porch repair in Tanner, and this for $2,951 grant. 116 North U Street, this is for window restoration, their stained glass windows, for a $6,402 grant. 219 North Locust, this is for siding repair and painting for $7,860. 222 North Chestnut, this is for painting, new handrail, new gutters for a maximum of $21,000. 311 through 13 Grand is for window repair for a maximum of $12,930. 332 Plum is for siding repair, painting, and porch repair for a maximum of $12,875. 413 Wilder, this was for metal cornice and gutter replication for $17,660. 418 Palace, this is for gutter replacement at $12,600. 424 West Park is for siding repair and painting for $18,218. 551 West Downer, this is a local landmark. It's for gutter replication and soft fascia repair. 625 Oak Ave is for window and door restoration and new wood storms for $11,759. 730 Grand Ave is in Riddle Highlands. It's for tuck pointing and window and lintel sill repair at $15,075. 740 Palace Street, also in Riddle Highlands, for tuck pointing and chimney repair for $16,120. And 985 Sheffer, this is a local landmark, for gutter replacement and soft fascia repair for a maximum of $15,000. Is there any questions?
Alderman Lash?
Sure. So I noticed a lot of these were in Tanner. Do we do any active outreach to some of the other historic districts, or they just have a more active group, or is it up to the alderperson to do the outreach there?
So we do outreach. Well, Tanner is one of our largest districts, so you do tend to have more from Tanner. We also have it's only owner occupied up to 2 units, so there's some so the rentals are not eligible. We do do outreach. We do notifications to all homeowners, as well as to the if it's not owner occupied, to the house itself. We have been discussing that, trying to think, or we're going to maybe work with the alderwoman about how we can get a little more representation from the Erie side, because we would definitely like to see more applications.
Thank
Any
you,
more
Mr.
questions?
Chair.
All right, thank you very much.
Consent.
Jill, Ms. Morgan. No objections, item going consent.
Okay, we ready?
Yep.
Next one is 240099. A resolution for an amendment to an engineering agreement for construction phase engineering service with Crawford Murphy and Tilly Incorporated for the Phase 2 Airfield Pavement Rehabilitation Project, ARR 4648, at the Aurora Municipal Airport in the amount of $52,900.
Consent?
No objections, I'm Alderman Franco?
No.
No, no objections, item going consent.
The next item is on final appeal, no action needed here. It is 23-1043, a resolution approving a revision to the final plan in Lot 1B and Meridian Business Campus, Phase 2, Unit 4, for a retail sales or service 2100 use. Is the petitioner here for this one?
Yes, they are. So if you'd like them
Yes,
just to
yes,
briefly
please.
describe Wild Fork Foods and what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Max Katowski, I'm the developer representing Wild Fork. So you're just looking for a brief explanation on the store, correct?
Yeah, you were not here for our committee meeting, so it'd be nice if we just got a
Correct.
brief
Absolutely, and I
presentation of
apologize
what's
about that
going
on
on.
behalf of our team. Wild Fork is it's a growing brand. They are a frozen food sales. They own their own butchers. They own their own farm, so it's a farm to plate idea. They are in charge of the transportation all the way from the farm all the way to the resale to the customer. So the store itself is going to be a 4,000 square foot building, single story, and it's all frozen food. There's no food preparation included in the store. There's a walk-in freezer in the back, and then sales floor freezers throughout. And that's about it.
Questions?
Where is the farm you're talking about, the transporting from farm?
They own multiple farms throughout the United States.
through, okay, so we
Yeah.
don't know even what state they're coming from, they're just coming from all over the place.
Right. They have a lot in Colorado, I believe, but.
No objections, I'm going
Mr.
consent.
Mayor.
I'm sorry, this is, no action needed,
Yes.
so,
I have a good.
I'm sorry, Alderman Bate.
So will there be any processing done at this location, or it's just packaged food that will be,
It's already packaged and it
Sold.
shows up at the store packaged, yes.
no noise, nothing?
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
When is your expected completion?
We're looking to be done at around October,
Awesome,
yeah.
Great.
Q3, Q4, yeah.
thank you,
Before the holidays is the goal.
perfect, thank you.
No action
Thank you.
needed.
Mr. Mayor, that is all that we have for the BZ&E committee.
Thank you very much. Chairman Franco, can you give the Finance Committee report, please?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Finance Committee met on February 15, 2024, and reviewed the following items. 23-0836, a resolution authorizing the execution of real estate contracts to purchase properties and appropriating rebuild Illinois bond funds required for the Indian Trail Road Signal Modernization and Resurfacing Edgelon to Highland project in the amount of $9,350. And this will allow for the purchase of some of the remaining easement and right-of-way parcels to continue the project.
Consent?
No objections, I'm going consent.
Next one is 24-0098, an ordinance reserving 2024 volume cap in connection with private activity bond issues and related matters. We are allowed up to a little bit over 22 million for that, and basically these bond issues are to advance public interest, but typically we do not, we have that money, but we usually don't use it for other things because we haven't entered it in the past.
No objections, I'm going consent.
Okay, the next one is 24-0103, a resolution to approve demolition and remediation contract with American Demolition Corporation of Carroll Stream, Illinois for the former YMCA structures at 460 to 480 Garfield Avenue.
Consent?
I'd like Mr. Curley to give us a brief, at least a brief explanation on that, because this has been a big project for a while.
Thanks, Chairman and Council, Mayor. John Curley, Chief Development Services Officer for the City of Aurora. This former YMCA site demolition, we recently obtained permission from Circuit Court to perform demolition and remediation here. We do not own the property currently, but we have a court order that allows the demolition to occur. The site has had over in more than a decade, more than 40 violations against the property. Since the building's been condemned in 2018, there have been more than 7 instances where the building's been broken into, and the arguments we made at court was that it was unsafe for our emergency personnel to keep responding, and we were responsible to then board the property and try and keep it secure because the current ownership is not doing so. We went out to bid in late December, had received 9 bids for the demolition and remediation of the project. We're recommending the American Demolition for the demolition. If you look at the, what did I call it? The, I think, amended bid form or the extended bid form, I explained why our recommendation is for American Demolition versus 2 bids that were a lower number, but the first one was not did not have an apprentice program as part of their company, so they were not qualified to bid for the project in the first place. The second apparent low bidder did not provide unit prices as part of our bid form, so it was incomplete. And I explained in the memo why that's important on this project, and I'll explain that a little bit more. So the project is a little bit of a chicken and the egg scenario for us. If you're familiar with the YMCA, it has, for the life of the building, been pumping spring water from the basement. And in 2018, and really the reason why the building was condemned in the end, where the pumps failed, the basement filled with water. Unfortunately, the main electric gear was in the basement, started a fire. The gear was damaged to a point where it couldn't be repaired, and subsequently we had to condemn the building. We gave the current owner at the time a repair demolition order and pursued what we could to either lay out what needed to happen to the building to reoccupy the building. They chose ultimately not to do that. So the kind of chicken and the egg scenario we're in now, and the reason these unit prices are so important, Currently, the building, the basement is full of water to just about 3 feet below grade. And in order to do the remediation, complete remediation Phase 2 study, we need to dewater the building, we need to stop the water from flowing into the building, and then do the environmental remediation. So as part of this project, the demolition contractor is going to be responsible for the Phase 2 study as well as plugging the well, and then then the remediation could start at that point. So having those unit prices is very important so that we have something established and can base some of the prices for this remediation on those numbers. So ultimately, my recommendation was or it was really committee recommendation was for American Demolition Corporation for $1,482,390. $482,390. They're indicating that the demolition can occur in 160 days. That was part of what we were considering as well, was the turnaround time frame on when this could be completed.
Questions? Alderman Leish.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I watched the committee meeting on this, and the question I had is there a second phase where they do look at the potential environmental remediation? I think you mentioned potential asbestos, and then come back to us with an additional cost? Or are we agreeing to just take the unit cost on that?
So what's going to occur, the part of the bid was a $500,000 allowance. So each of the bidders had $500,000 for remediation built into their pricing. What the agreement is going to be with the contractor is they're going to come back with multiple bids for the remediation pricing. It will contain a unit price because there is still some things that may not be known at the time that we're going to work with the agreement, and they're going to have to demonstrate every dollar that comes off of that $500,000 in order to get paid, along with waivers of lien and all that.
So to answer his question, you don't have to come back before city council after the remediation is done. So once they get up to $500,000, that's when you come back there. If they were to go over $500,000, that's when you come back to city council.
That's correct. If we exceeded this not to exceed, which we believe there's plenty of room in there where we would not have to come back.
And $500,000 is into the 1.4, is that correct?
Correct, that's correct.
And then one final question. For those that didn't complete the unit pricing, do we go back to them and let them know that they didn't, answer all the questions and give them a chance to fill that out again? Or is it just we take the best and move on?
The bidding process is really handled by our purchasing department, and I do not believe that's a best practice. But to be honest, I am not involved in discussions during a bidding process. That actually is a check and balance. That's good government, so that the people involved in letting the contract are not involved in negotiating the bids.
Okay, thank you for your question.
Any other questions? No
Consent.
objection, it's on consent. Thank you. We're all good, Julie.
Thank you.
The next one is 24-0109, a resolution authorizing the execution of a lease agreement with Mark Radina and Archetype Stained Glass for the lease of office space and art studio at 7 South Broadway in Aurora. And this is a month-to-month lease agreement, which allows the tenant to utilize the space and provides flexibility of both the tenant and the city.
With no objections, I'm going consent.
Mr. Mayor, that concludes the Finance Committee report.
Thank you very much. Chairman Seville, can you give the Public Health, Safety, and Transportation Committee report, please?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The PHS&T committee met on February 13th, and we reviewed the following items: 24-0013, resolution authorizing the execution of a service agreement between the City of Aurora and Family Services Association of Elgin, Illinois, in support of the Aurora Police Department Crisis Intervention Unit for the period of January of 2024 through June of 2025. This is something that we've been using since 2020. This is an 18-month contract providing social services and helping with mental health issues. And they'll be expanding to a third person with hopefully down the road a fourth person, but that's in the future. Consent.
With no objections, I'm going consent.
24-0062, a resolution authorizing the execution of a memorandum of understanding between the City of Aurora, the City of Elgin, and Kane County, the participation in the 2023 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Association Grant, the JAG program. Each year we participate in this. This time we're receiving 30%, which will be $33,641, and this is going to go towards purchasing water rescue kits So,
Consent?
Consent?
yes.
Good evening, everyone. Lieutenant Bill Rowley with the Aurora Police Department. I'm the Admin Services Commander. Thanks for giving me just a minute on this item. I just wanted to point out perfect timing here. On Friday, we had our quarterly awards ceremony at the Aurora Police Department, and our Officers of the Year for 2023 were a series of officers who performed actually a water rescue and used the water rescue kits that we're looking to purchase this year. Also, we are submitting 10 officers for consideration for the 2023 Kane County Officer of the Year. These 10 officers in 2 separate incidents performed water rescue attempts inside the city of Aurora in 2023. So I just thought it was pretty salient to bring that information to the committee of the whole to use these water rescue kits. Once we have an opportunity, I'd like to bring one of these kits in to show the council if it's something that you think would be worthy.
That
So,
would be
thank you for your
worthy.
time
Very
on that.
much, sir.
Yes, sir.
With no objections, item go on consent.
Consent, okay. The next item is 24-0063, a resolution approving the purchase of 31 United Shield brand ballistic shields and accessories from MES Lawman Supply of Deer Creek, Illinois, in the amount of $64,725. We're on a
Consent?
7-year rotation period. All squad cars are equipped with this, and Bill is demonstrating one even as we speak with the light.
Lieutenant?
Lieutenant Bill Rowley, again, from the Aurora Police Department, Administrative Services Lieutenant. We had a lot of questions on these. Every time I come up to seek council's consent on these purchases, I get a lot of really good questions. This last time, Alderman Serville asked about the material that these are made out of, and Alderman Leish was asking more information about the number that we carry in our various units. So we thought it might be a good idea to bring one by if anybody wants to take a look at it. Your Sergeant-at-Arms was gracious enough to bring the one from his squad car up. This is a pistol-rated shield. This shield is made from another brand similar to Kevlar. If you want to pick it up and carry it around for 45 minutes or an hour, let me know how that feels for you. Maybe hide behind a tree for a while and see how that feels. They're all lit. They're all lit up, as you can see. And we use these. They're clearly marked so you can see that they're police. Rifle-rated shields are a lot heavier. They're made from a polymer. That'll stop a rifle round. This will stop anything by a pistol. So if anybody wants to take a look at this afterwards, this is what your money's spending for the citizens of Aurora and to keep our police officers safe. So
Alderman
thank you.
Franco?
Would it be possible for all the men to utilize those when we have neighborhood meetings, just in case?
Alderman, we're always accepting applications to the Aurora Police Department.
Might be over the age limit,
With
but
no
that's
objections,
okay.
item go on consent.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Consent, okay. And then the last one, 24-0085, a resolution approving a third-party administrative services for cities and schools, Aurora, to administer the 2024 summer programs in the amount not to exceed $180,000 for the Youth Services Division.
Consent?
This is a collaborative effort. We've been working with CIS since 2010. The schools that will be allocating these summer programs will be Hill, Donnell, Wheatlands, Bardwell, and there's a choice now. I don't know if they've singled it down to either Georgetown or McCarty. We'll be doing 75 students this year, no charge to families. Other agencies and not-for-profits do it in our community. For example, the schools, the park districts, the townships, and the not-for-profits as well, so.
Consent?
No objections, item go on consent.
A question.
I'm sorry, Alderman Bug.
Oh, hi, Sam. Is anyone, I do see some of, yeah. I just want to see if there's, what if any changes there are from last year to this year? Any?
Sure. Yeah, and we even have a presentation just in case, but I can share with you changes from last year. As far as the locations, typically West Aurora has always been very consistent with the Hill Elementary site. This year, East Aurora, last year we're at Johnson. This year we're going to be at O'Donnell on the more northern east side of Aurora. Oswego School District at the Wheatlands, we've been there, I think, but it's usually between the Wheatlands and Homestead, thank you so much. And then Indian Prairie, we're still waiting on their final construction schedule for the summer, which it'll either be Georgetown or McCarty. And that one, we make sure, as I mentioned at the PHST committee, that we have a Title I school, which allows us then to bring in the Northern Illinois Food Bank program to ensure that our kids get breakfast and lunch program at no cost to us or the
families. And then the drama camp, last year I believe we had it at Jefferson Middle School. This year it's going to be actually at Bardwell on the east side. So, but that is a citywide camp, so it's available for all kids in Aurora. And that one's the only different one where it's the grades 3 through 8 and a different time. And then the other camps are all 1st through 5th grade, 8:30 to 2 p.m. Monday through Thursday. I'd be more than happy to go through the presentation unless there are any additional questions.
Quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
I know you have a process. How do you get it out to the schools? What is your?
Sure. So when we look at our timeline, if I can just go ahead and go really quickly through, that's one of our items. So obviously, once we have this finalized through City Council, hopefully by next week, then that is when we officially send out press to all the schools. We highly promote it at our Youth and Family Resource Fair, which is coming up on April 10th. I want to plug that into so you can all be there. But that's going to also be the opportunity for our families to apply to our program. They'll have the first opportunity, and then it's going to open up to the public on April 11th. We're going to use our social media outlets and to get the word out as well. So.
And then we can feed off of that as well?
Correct. And obviously, we'd more than happy to share with all our elected officials, with our neighborhood groups. They're phenomenal in getting the word out to our families as well.
Just one question on the drama camp coming out of COVID. Of course, it was down like everything else.
Yes, sir.
Is that when we made the switch from East High to the elementary school location? And why, just generally,
Yeah.
do we not use East High? That's a great facility.
Great question. Absolutely. Our preference is either east or west, and actually what we like to do is bounce between both schools because it's a citywide program, and we also want to be respectful of other programming that is occurring in the schools, right? They have to leave space for their summer remedial programs, districts, and sports camps. And the big one that I always put an asterisk there is construction. As many of you know, our schools, ARPA funds that some of them still go through 2026, have allowed our schools to do many construction projects. What that does is it does close off the buildings for the summer, but it allows them to make much needed changes and updates. So then we work closely with all our school districts, and then they allow us the space, but they let us know what's available to them depending on their construction. So this year, actually, both high schools are going through construction projects this summer, so they're not going to be available for our camp. But East Aurora was amazing enough to find us an alternate building.
So the possibility of when that construction is over,
Mhm.
that it may go back to East High or West High?
Our goal is to bounce between both high schools, actually, and then have those performances in the auditorium.
Simon,
Yes.
there's 2 other high schools in Aurora too.
Yes.
On the other side of town.
That's true. There are. Yes.
We appreciate all the hard work you did find the schools you did find.
Thank you.
We'll look. Any other questions?
I do appreciate, I'm just reminding.
Yes.
All right, with no other questions, this item, I'm sorry, Alderman Donnell.
I just want to thank you for going to Bardwell School. Bardwell recently got air conditioning
Yes.
in the theater, and it's a beautiful kind of old school feel. If you haven't been there, you ought to go to the play.
Yes, sir. Yes. So I'm really excited about all the changes. I know Georgetown for a while was needing the air conditioning was only in a certain part of the building, and our poor kids sometimes would just be sweating, and our staff. So I'm so happy that was taken care of 2 summers ago. So now we have air conditioning in that building. So we always want to make sure, when we look at the locations, especially that safety features, fire, carbon monoxide, obviously those are obvious things, but we want to make sure it's a comfortable and safe experience for our youth and the staff.
Thank you. No other questions, this item will go on consent.
And that's a report from PHS and
Thank you.
Mayor.
Thank you very much, Chairman Seville. Before we go on to INT, I'm going to let Mayor Pro Tem Seville take my place here and lead City Council.
I think you're shooting for the moon.
I know, but I had to say it because he said 2 high schools. There's 2 more.
2 4 is so difficult.
I know.
That's why. It wasn't really expected. It was just that when he said 2 high schools, I just said.
Sometimes you gotta shoot for the moon.
Just had to-
Why is it like the far east side over there?
giving myself to order.
Upset about the 2 high schools. No coincidence, all 4 of you together.
Actually, all 4.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to remind people that Aurora extends up that.
It's true, we forget.
I know.
I do.
Sorry. Will Chairwoman Garza please give the I&T Committee report?
Yes, Mayor. The committee met on February 12, 24. The first item in the agenda was 24-0036, a resolution authorizing the purchase of replacement and additional vehicles for the City of Aurora fleet.
Consent.
I'm going to ask to put that at unfinished.
Okay, this item will go on to unfinished.
Next item is 24-0058, a resolution to adopt unit price distributed for the respondent for 2024 electrical supplies for the electrical division.
Consent.
Okay.
Consent? Okay, this item will go on consent.
Next item, 24-0065, a resolution authorizing Alto 4 CAT to perform the commandant repairs and component replacement to fleet unit number 63-149 for $65,716.60 plus a 5% contingency of $3,285.83.
Consent.
Okay, consent. This item will go on consent.
Okay, next item, 24-0074, a resolution to award the Fifth Street Water Main Extension Project located in Ward 2 to Brent Excavating, Inc. to the bid amount $263,383.45.
Consent.
Consent? Okay, this item will go on consent.
Next item, 24-0078, a resolution authorizing the Director of Purchasing to enter into an agreement with Chicago Paving Contractors, Inc., Lake Zurich, Illinois, 6047, to the amount of $689,950 for the 24 citywide payment patching for water and sewer maintenance.
Consent.
Consent? Okay, this item will
And
go on
we
consent.
conclude the meeting, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Alderwoman Garza. The next one is a report of the Rules Administration and Procedures Committee. Will Alderman Ron Warman give the RAP Committee report?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Rules Administration and Procedures Committee met on February 6, 2024, and reviewed the following items. 24-0042, a resolution approving the reappointments of Charlie Zine and Doug Johnson, and the appointments of Dave Horner and Thad Morello to the Bicycle, Pedestrian, and Transit Advisory Board.
Consent.
Consent? Okay, this item will go on consent.
Next item on the agenda, 24-0043, a resolution approving the reappointment of Charles Baker and Ayu Dusani to the Innovation and Technology Advisory Commission.
Consent.
Consent? This item will go on consent.
Next item on the agenda, 24-0047, a resolution authorizing the 2024 ward neighborhood cleanups and shred events in all wards in the city of
Consent.
Aurora.
Consent.
Consent? Okay, this item will go on consent.
Next item on the agenda, 24-0051, a resolution approving the appointment of Jennifer Paprocki and Denise Morgan representing Aurora to the Aurora Area Convention and Visitors Bureau Board.
Consent.
Consent? Okay, this item will go on consent.
Next item on the agenda, 24-0057, a resolution approving the reappointments of Angie Thomas and the appointments of A. Elizabeth Robinson Chan to the Civil Service Commission.
Consent.
Consent.
Consent? This item will go on consent.
Next item on the agenda, 24-0066, a resolution approving the appointments of Amina Hart, Tanya Majerski, Charmaine Peterson, and Alonzo Beckford to the African American Heritage Advisory Board.
Consent.
Consent.
Okay, consent? This item will go on consent.
Excuse me. Next item on the agenda, 24-0069, a resolution authorizing the reappointments of Linda Cole, Warren Barton, Ken Gall, Dan Hoffman, Jarrell Lashiba, Judy Durham, and Eric Rodriguez, and the appointment of Luma Webster and Karen Christensen to the members to the Block Grant Working Committee.
Consent.
Quick question, Mayor.
Sorry.
Just, I don't know if staff could,
Alderman Lesh?
sorry, I don't know if staff has an answer on this, but we're making a bunch of appointments, which is good, because I know there's been a lot of vacancies in these commissions. Will these appointments fill all the vacancies on our commissions? Are we not quite there yet?
Alex Alexandru, Chief Management Officer, filling in for Alex Voigt. Alderman Leash, so what is on tonight? Let me just check. So the bike ped appointments, that results in no vacancies. So that fills that committee. Innovation and Technology, with the 2 appointments, that leaves 5 remaining positions on the INT Advisory Commission. Convention and Visitors Bureau, with the 2 appointments, that would leave 4. Civil Service, no vacancies. The African American group, no vacancies after these appointments. And let me just see here, the Block Grant Working Committee, 1 remaining vacancy open, and it indicates Ward 3. And I'm sorry, I don't think you've gotten to the Aquatics Board, but that one fills out the 5-member board and fulfills the city's obligation per the agreement, the Aquatics Agreement.
Thank you.
So I
Mayor
think
Pro
I covered all of them.
Right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Would this item go on consent then?
Consent.
Consent.
And next item, I'm going to recuse myself and turn this item over to Vice Chairman Yamas.
Okay.
And I think Alderman Tolliver is going to do as well, so. Thanks.
Vice Chair Yamas?
I'll wait until they leave the room. Thank you. All right, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. This is agenda item 24-0079, a resolution appointing Alderman Ron Warman and Alderman Brandon Tolliver to the Aquatics Administrative Board.
Consent.
Consent.
This will have to stay on unfinished.
Unfinished.
Thank you. So the for the conflict of interest there.
Okay.
That'll be unfinished. If we can bring the 2 gentlemen back into the room, please. Thank you.
And that concludes Rules of Administration and Procedures Committee.
Okay, thank you, Alderman Warman. We do have one item under new business, 24-0113, a resolution establishing the application fees for special events permits issued under Chapter 41.5 of the Code of Ordinances.
So moved.
Second.
And we're just placing this under consent. Okay,
Consent.
Consent.
okay, great. Consent then. That item will be on consent for the next city council meeting next week. We have an Alderman's Corner, Ward 1, Alderman Yamas will be presenting, is that correct?
That is correct, Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you very much.
Please proceed.
I do not have a PowerPoint, so there aren't any visual aids for anyone. I hope that's not a problem. If it is, just have to do without. Let's see. The very first thing that I want to talk about is Garfield Park, because it's the second biggest park in the entire city, one that is, like Alderwoman Smith mentioned, kind of gets left out under the shadow of Phillips Park. So I feel your pain there. But the good news is that we're going to have renovations at the park soon. Gio Santana came to the council a few months ago and let us know that we were applying for a grant. We have good news. We received that grant for $600,000, and it's a matching grant from the state of Illinois. So what we will then have to match the $600,000 for improvements to the park. And those improvements are going to be broken down into 2 phases. Phase 1 will include a new playground, a new splash pad, improved parking, improved volleyball court, renovated picnic shelter and bathrooms, a half-court basketball, or that's kind of weird, basketball half-court, I guess you call it, and a street soccer pitch, which is a kind of, not miniature, but not full-scale soccer field. That's kind of like more of an indoor soccer field size. It's going to be really cool at the park. Now, I guess this is the one part where I regret not having my visual aids, because I have one myself. Not the big screen, but it's going to look really cool. The phase 1 is going to be primarily the western end of the park, so where the playground is and like all those things that I mentioned earlier, pretty much everything aside from the baseball fields. Once we get to phase 2, now we're going to focus on replacing the 2 baseball fields with artificial turf. Those are on the eastern end, and then we're going to add some pickleball courts. We will also have additional parking renovations for the other parking lot that's there closer to the where the fire station is now. We'll have additional bathrooms, and then, like I mentioned, the artificial turf fields. That's all I have for Garfield Park. I wish I had more news to present, not so much to my colleagues here, even though I want you to be well informed, but more so to the residents that are out there wondering about the park. But speaking of, we have a community group that is based there around the Garfield Park area. That neighborhood is called Pigeon Hill. That's where I'm from, born and raised. And in Pigeon Hill, we have a neighborhood group that's called the Pigeon Hill Neighbors. They have not been together since the pre-pandemic. I don't remember the last meeting, but it was right before the pandemic shut down. And they haven't gotten back together since then. We have been working together with staff. It's been super helpful. Thank you, Viviana, who's back there, and Karina. Brian, I don't think Brian's here today. But they've been very helpful in trying to get that group up and running again. We've been promoting it at the other neighborhood groups, other city events, trying to get new leadership and just kind of get the core group together. Well, we don't have the leadership in place right now, but we are moving forward with restarting that group. We're going to have our first meeting this Thursday at 7 p.m. at St. Joseph's Church. It'll be down in the basement of the gym. So for anyone that's out there listening at home, please stop by. You should have also received a postcard because I mailed them to every single house in that neighborhood. So please make sure you come out for that meeting. Let me get back here to my presentation. Oh, one thing here, I'm looking at my notes here. With that neighborhood group, we had a New Year's party back in January. It was after the New Year's, but it was kind of mid-January. And again, staff did a great job handling that. Thank you very much. I walked in there and was just stunned by the amount of people that were there. Because in my view, I was nervous. You know, is anyone actually going to show up? And we had a great crowd there. We had a lot of volunteers. We had a lot of entertainment. There was food by Rulins, which we all know, and the Ward 1 business, the Euro Pit. So thank you, Nick, for the delicious food. We also had a DJ playing some nice music on a Saturday afternoon. We had face painting for the kids and raffles that included really cool prizes like even a Nintendo Switch. So I think we're going to have to keep that going maybe possibly every year, but we will see. Recently, we had a new business come into the ward, and I want to talk about this business just because of the specific services that they offer the community. The name of the business is East Aurora Counseling. This is led by Dr. Goldman. She invited, I believe, many of the aldermen to the ribbon cutting. I know Alderman Garza was there with me a few months ago, and she is over at 2755 Church Road in the First Ward. The goal of this organization or this business is to support people dealing with various issues that affect our community, such as poverty and immigration and gender identity and sexual orientation. So, being that we're a very diverse city, I think these are services that could be used not just by constituents in the First Ward, but all throughout the city. There are upcoming events this year that are kind of repeats from last year. These are kind of the big events that we have in the First Ward. The first one being the cleanup day. Last year, we had consolidated the previous 3 locations into one, which we had at the Road Transportation Center. We had it set up technically over in the Second Ward, so thank you, Alderman Garza, for letting us use that portion of your ward, only because we're past the railroad tracks. But we had a lot of residents come out from the ward. They were lined up. We had good traffic control. We had 4 trucks, 2 on each side. We had this event in April thinking it's a spring cleanup, we'll have spring weather. We were unfortunate and had a snowy Saturday morning and afternoon. But it was still a good time. People were still able to come and clean up their garages, their basements. So we're going to have it again this year. We're going to do it the same way because I thought that it worked well. At the same location, Road Transportation Center, Saturday, April 27th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Hopefully, we will not get snow at the end of April, but because I just said it, we probably will. But that's okay. We will still be open. The very last thing, so we can get out of here, is the Back to School Fair. This will be our 4th year doing it in August at Garfield Park. And when I say we, I mean myself, staff that helps me. Thank you, especially Cynthia, if you're listening. Rich also, and everyone at the Alderman's office. But more importantly, the lovely sisters and hermanas at Sigma Iota Alpha. They are the Latina sorority that co-hosts the event with me, has done so for the last 3 years. They do a great job organizing this and bringing in all of the community resources for our parents and students. So last year we had free food, moon jumps, a DJ, and dance performances. We will do the same this year, and I'm trying to bring in other forms of entertainment as well. We'll also have numerous sponsors, like in years past, including participants from the community, such as private businesses, nonprofits, and even unions. Last year, we were able to give away 500 book bags and 600 school supply kits, all thanks to our sponsors and our partners. So when we were purchasing these school supplies, it wasn't all coming from ward funds. The large majority of this was from private donations. So we're going to reach back out to the same sponsors to keep this going every year. Speaking of the sponsors and volunteers, everyone that's out there that's listening, thank you very much. This past year was kind of hectic with the amount of people we had and the running around back and forth. So if I didn't personally get a chance to thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. We hope to keep this going year after year after year. It's not an easy thing, but with everyone's patience and hard work, we can do it to help the students in the first ward. That's all I have for you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Yes, Alderman Franco.
Alderman Yamas, I do have a question. So,
Oh, actually, I'm sorry, before I forget, I mentioned the back-to-school fair, but my last bullet point is the most important. This year, it is going to take place on August 10th, which is a Saturday, from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. You'll also be getting a reminder once the newsletter goes out later this spring. That's it, thank you.
with regard to the baseball fields at Garfield Park, you said they're going to be artificial turf. Will that be both infield and outfield?
So I don't think we have a parks representative here, but from my understanding, yes, the completely turf, complete
The reason I
turf.
ask this, because I've seen both. Typically, as you know from playing baseball, the infield is much more important because it gets somebody you can't play. The outfield's all grass, it kind of absorbs it, so I didn't know which way we were going. I know one's more expensive to do the whole thing, but I didn't know which way they were going there. Not a big deal, but, you know,
Yeah,
I've seen it
and
go both ways.
from my discussions with Gio, seems that turf has come a long way
Mm-hmm.
since my playing day. I mean, you still play baseball. I probably couldn't hit a ball anymore. Throw it to first from shortstop. But I've heard that the new turf is, a lot more natural feeling, and kids are less prone to be injured
It's
on the new type of
outstanding.
surf.
Right, I just didn't know if they're going to go the whole thing, you know, but
I'm almost positive they are.
that's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question also. If you know, with the soccer pitch, is that permanent? I think maybe Simon's still across the way.
The new one will
Is
be
that gonna
permanent.
Okay.
No, so the one that's there now is not permanent, but we will have a permanent one as part of the park renovations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great, thanks.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you, Alderman Yamas, for your first word presentation and all you're doing for the constituents. I believe there's no need for a
Motion
closed
to adjourn.
session.
Second.
Been moved by Alderman Franco, second by Alderwoman Smith. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. We are adjourned. And it is 6:07 PM. Thank you.